in what way can the lighting in a room be relevant to the sound insulation and the acoustic properties of that room? I came across an interesting question today that I'm going to show you. Here's from a project that I'm working on, and we've got this little package of rooms. These are conversation rooms where the staff can have conversations, and there is a secrecy aspect here. When they have a conversation here, the information cannot leave this room. So it's very important that we got proper sound insulation to the outside. And in this case, we have glass doors. And typically, a glass door is more difficult to get good sound insulation than if it would be a regular door that is not that you're not able to see through. So in this case, we need glass to let some light inside the room, because otherwise it's going to feel like a dark dungeon in there, and it's not going to be a nice place to be. So that's why the doors are made of glass here. And a typical thing that can happen in projects is that if this is a corridor, people are only passing by. They're just walking temporarily, and then they'll leave. Then usually you can get by with a somewhat easier, relaxed sound requirement on this construction. In this case, I'm talking about this partition primarily, and the sound transmission that goes on here between these two rooms. So if you're just passing by, the requirement can be somewhat relaxed. However, sometimes you end up with a situation where people can, maybe there's, oh, that's it's gonna be a midget. Here's the door, a taller person, I guess. Someone is standing here, or maybe if there's perhaps a waiting room, if this could also be like healthcare premises or something, then there's maybe a chair. Let's see if I can draw a chair in the right scale. How tall would that be? Something like this. Let's say there's a chair out here, and then there's someone in here talking sensitive information. They will not know whether this person is here or not, and then they might be able to intercept and listen to this secret conversation, and we cannot have it that way. So even though that the requirement that you look at in the Swedish standard, you usually have one requirement between rooms, like this one. Here's a stricter requirement, and then there's another requirement in this direction. And this one is based on people passing by, but this one is based on that people are constantly in here. This is a manned space. And that's why this one is harder and this one is a bit more relaxed. But if you have this situation where people might be out there for a longer period of time, then you might fulfill the requirement with regards to from what should we call it? Conversation room. To corridor. So even if you fulfill the requirement according to the regulations, you might need to bump up your ambition level on this construction and place a better door here and a better wall. So let's get it up to perhaps 40 dB instead of 35, which would be the normal one for reasonable secrecy. So let's get it up to 40. And here comes the issue with lighting, where I started this video, because it might be difficult to find a glass door that can fulfill 40 dBs. That then starts to become difficult, because you also need to take care of it's called the threshold, this part. You do not want I guess the threshold, I can't find I guess it's the word threshold, where the door closes. If you have, let's do it in black instead, I like that better. When the door closes to a threshold in the floor like this, you get a tight sealed connection, so this is good. However, if you're in a wheelchair, this is not that much fun, because then you would want to have a solution that is maybe a rubber barrier threshold like this instead, and perhaps a mechanical one that and comes down when you close the door. And this is also, of course, a weaker acoustic solution compared to a fixed one in the floor. So that there's several issues. The glass makes it weaker. This connection makes it weaker with regards to acoustics. So, and still we want the light to come into the room. So how do you solve it? Well, another way could be to, let's say we get rid of the glass door. We do a solid door instead here. You can't see through it anymore. And this will increase the sound isolation of the door. And then perhaps we could install a little window in the wall instead. And that way we can let the light into the room. Because it's easier to create an airtight construction here with proper sound insulation if you do it as a window that is always closed. The door has to be able to open and close it and back and forth. So this way you can bump up the insulation of the door, still get the light into the room. And that's the compromise. And this is like the perfect example of why an acoustician needs to know so much about every other discipline there. Because it's when you're fresh out of school, it's not the first thing that will cross your mind that you need to know about the daylight that enters a room and how that affects sound. That's something that comes with a couple of years of experience. And it's always like this with acoustics, and that makes it a lot of fun as well. You need to know about a lot of things and get what's called allmänbildning in Swedish, just general knowledge in the field of civil engineering. It's a really rewarding profession to have this. And just want to talk about this a little bit. This was a little rant, not that pretty much improvised, but it's a good example on how all these different disciplines needs to come together and create a perfect or optimal design. Anyway, in today's video, we'll end with a little style tip as usual, and I'm wearing gray, black, dark blue pants, and this little pocket square with dark blue, light blue, grayish colors, and some green. And I pick up the green with my eyes. So it's because we have such a boring weather today, raining madly. So I look out the window, I look at what colors do I see. It looks actually a lot nicer on the camera than what it does in real life. It's clouds, gray, boring weather. And then I just replicate it in my outfit. So when if I don't have any creative inspiration, I just look out the window, look at the weather, look at nature, pick the same color palette, combine the outfit accordingly, and you're done. It always works. And it also creates a pretty nice... it feels relevant with you fit in the day, the weather, when you go out and you meet people and stuff, and you look the same way as the weather. It just works. I like it. Anyway, see you later.